You ever had those moments in life when you were high or when you're just in bed in general and you were thinking mainly about artificial intelligence? I know, weird question to say, but imagine you were this high and you were thinking stuff like, you know, I think it would be a pretty cool idea if AI can replace traditional human made jujitsu systems. I want to know what would happen. Yeah, well, you get Chris Pratt's Mercy. So yeah, Mercy is a movie that came out last month, and it stars Chris Pratt and Rebecca Ferguson. And in this movie, Chris Pratt, who plays Detective Chris Raven, he's trying to prove his innocence in 90 minutes that he did not kill his wife to Judge Maddox, the AI judge, like I just mentioned. That is played by Rebecca Ferguson. And in this movie, Chris Pratt tries his best to basically escape death because if he does not prove his innocence in that time period, he's gonna get killed. And they'll move on, grab another bad guy, do the same thing over and over. But overall, I think from a filmmaking perspective, I wouldn't really say that this is like something that would be pretty fun overall. Like if you're like a movie critic, I don't think you're gonna have a blast with it, which explains like the negative Rotten Tomato score. But from my perspective, I think this is pretty cool. I like the movie. I thought it was pretty interesting. I was locked in the entire time, mainly towards the final act. The final act is like, in my opinion, the best part of the movie. It was like pretty intense. Like it will get your heart pounding, and you will be like, "Oh crap, what's gonna happen next?" Like this whole movie overall is gonna get your heart pounding. It's a pretty cool murder mystery movie of like, oh, who's the bad guy? Who actually killed the wife? Um, yeah, it's overall pretty cool. I like this movie. Would I really say that it should be something that you should watch? Well, that's what I'm going to give you guys today. I'm going to give you guys my opinions on the movie. And at the end, I'm going to give you my whole honest thoughts and whether or not you should watch the movie or you should wait for it to come out on digital. So let's begin with our first thoughts. And that is going to be obviously the most important stuff when it comes to reviewing movies or shows. And that, of course, being so yeah, let's go in and talk about the story because obviously that's like the one important thing when you want to talk about, mainly when it comes to reviews. I will give the story of Mercy a 6 out of 10. I think overall Mercy was a pretty solid movie, like I just said like a couple minutes ago. And here's some things I liked about the story. For starters, the pacing. I think the pacing was pretty solid for an hour and 40 something minutes movie. I think it was that long. I think it was like an hour and 50, but I don't really know. But I think the pacing was pretty solid. It was perfect pacing for its runtime. There were some problems I had with the pacing, but overall, the pacing was perfectly fine. I think it's pretty solid for that kind of movie. Another thing I also liked about it was, you know what? I hate to say this, but I like the characters in the story. I thought a lot of the characters were pretty cool. The villain was pretty cool overall. Let's see what else. I thought Chris Pratt was pretty solid. Rebecca Ferguson, I think she did pretty good for playing Judge Maddox. And there's an assistant to Chris Raven. It's like a couple assistant characters that he gets help from in the movie. I thought they were pretty cool overall. And last thing I want to talk about real quick is the twist. Spoiler alert if you guys have not seen Mercy yet. This is a quick little spoiler warning in case you guys want to go see it. So yeah, let's move on to the twist. So the twist is pretty cool. If you guys don't know who it was the brother of David, who was the first victim in the Mercy trial. His name was, if I'm not mistaken, I think like it was like, if I'm not mistaken, like Roger or something. I don't really know what his name was because they don't specifically mention his name in the casting, and I have like somewhat bad memories, so I can't really remember what his name was. I'll look at it later on, but yeah, Roger, he was a pretty cool villain. I liked him. Would I say he's like one of the coolest twist villains? Absolutely not. Like I somewhat expected it to be him, mainly due to the fact that the way he was acting. Like it was honestly pretty cool though that Roger was like doing this as a whole revenge for his brother being killed. Like I was generally shocked that that Roger's brother was David, the same David who got killed first in the Mercy trial, which I thought was pretty cool. And the whole final act of him like trying to blow up Mercy and like trying to kill the daughter or kidnap the daughter, or like do whatever. I think he was trying to kill her, and I thought it was pretty dumb that villains will always do this in movies. I honestly hate when they do that, but kind of makes sense because makes the hero lose or something. But I thought the final act was pretty cool with Roger, trying to blow up Mercy and like trying to end this once and for all. It was pretty sad that he wanted to do that, but kind of makes sense. If my brother was killed, I would personally go on a revenge spree and just, try to tell people that, oh, you shouldn't mess with my brother and stuff like that. But that will never happen because, this is fake. It will never happen. I don't think artificial intelligence will ever do that. But, yeah, I thought the twist was pretty cool of Roger being the killer of Nicole Raven, the wife, instead of Chris Raven. I honestly thought it was going to be him because, usually with these kind of movies, sometimes it would be the main character that did all this. But, yeah, it's pretty cool overall. I honestly had a pretty fun time with Mercy, with the twist and stuff. What was real quick? I didn't want to talk about one last thing. Oh, yeah, one last thing. Also the ending. I like the ending. It was pretty wholesome. Just standard, sweet little ending. Now let's move on to the bad side real quick. We're still going to mention spoilers, of course. Let's go on and talk about this. Let's talk about some of the side characters. I thought one of the side characters was pretty annoying. Honestly hated if not mistaken, I think his name was like, I honestly don't know his name, but it was the black dude who we assumed. Wait. It was the black guy that Chris Raven assumed was the killer to Nicole Raven. I honestly did not really like that character that much because, it's like typical, like, oh, like, you get my point. I did not really like that guy. Also, another thing I did not like about it was if I'm going to be honest, I think I did not like the whole AI trying to do its own things. Because it makes me think that the AI was the bad guy and it's going rogue and stuff. But no, it did not go rogue whatsoever. So I was a little bit disappointed, mainly due to the fact that the way it was acting and stuff, like it was malfunctioning and stuff like that. I thought it was going rogue. I thought it was going to, go rogue and try to kill, anything. But no. Also, another thing I did not like about this movie mainly was the fact that, how do I say this? I'm not sure exactly if I can find the words for it. But, I think the one thing I did not like about this movie overall was, I think I thought I'm trying to think of it. Hold up. I can't really find words to think of it, but you get my point. I'm just trying to say that. Oh, actually, I think I know exactly what I'm trying to say. I think I know exactly what I need to talk about real quick because I really wanted to talk about this, and I know for a matter of fact, so many people wanted to talk about this when they're mentioning. Mercy. I think in general it was the camera movement. I thought the camera movement was like a little off. I didn't really understand why the camera movement seemed off. I'm not sure exactly if they were even using real body cams because obviously since we're looking at a detective and a police perspective, it's always gonna have body cams. So I generally did not like some of the shots in the movie. I thought the whole chasing sequence when they were getting, like I said, the black dude who knew Nicole. I didn't really like the movement of it, especially the part where the officer just tackles him and he falls down. I thought he was going to die, and I thought we were going to have that pretty long shot of like just the officer like falling down. We're going to have that stupid rolling angle that they usually do when characters fall down. Also, another thing I didn't really like about it was just also some of the movement shots or like a lot of movement shots. I didn't really like that. I thought the movement shots were a little bit off. Some of it felt janky overall. But yeah, that's just one thing I didn't really like. So yeah, we're done with the story. Let's go on and talk about the next thing, which is without a doubt going to be the... Okay, so let's talk about the characters real quick. Let's talk about, of course, the main two characters, those being Chris Raven and Judge Maddox. Judge Maddox, I would say, was a pretty dumb character. So, of course, since it's AI, of course, it does the typical AI thing, so nothing to really say. Chris Raven, honestly thought, he's kind of like me, if I'm really going to be honest. He has anger issues, which makes sense, because it's mainly, he has an alcohol problem. Yes, I know, but I'll put up a spoiler warning like for a quick second. I'm not sure if they mentioned it in the trailer, but yeah, all you need to know is that he has an alcohol problem and anger issues. All right, next up, I want to real quick talk about the other characters real quick. Well, actually, we have time. The side character that helps Chris Raven, Jack, the female character, or yeah, female police officer character. I honestly think she was a pretty cool character, like a pretty cool side character that would mainly help out Chris from time to time throughout the plot. But I just want to, well, pretty much at the end of the movie, it was revealed that Jack actually was the reason why Mercy was still in business, and it was the reason why David was killed. It's because she tossed one of the pieces of evidence, which was a phone, into under near the, like, I think at the end of the bridge, like a bridge or something, or like a freeway, and she just tossed it away. I thought that was a pretty scummy thing to do. Like, it was pretty sad that, you know, David Nelson had to get killed because of that. Also, real quick, we need to talk about Rob Nelson. Rob Nelson, in my opinion, was honestly one of the. Sorry, real quick. I thought Rob Nelson was overall a pretty solid villain for these kind of movies that are found footage. Would I say he's like a really cool dark villain? Absolutely not. But I honestly thought Rob Nelson being like the twist villain, like the one who killed Nicole and wants to go after Mercy, was pretty cool overall. Let's see what other character I want to talk about real quick. Oh yeah, let's talk about Ray. If you don't know who Ray is, Ray is was the one that worked with Chris Raven as his partner, and he was essentially like his best friend. But unfortunately, he was killed after he was shot and essentially ran over by a hostile vehicle, and an accident goes wrong, and then Ray dies, and then Chris goes back to drinking. But I think Ray overall, like, for some of the scenes, I thought Ray was a pretty funny character. He's like that one friend that's been with you since elementary school. He's a pretty chill character. I just wish he didn't die. That's in my opinion. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, let's also talk about the daughter of Chris Raven. I think her name was like I keep forgetting what her name is. But the daughter of Chris Raven, I thought she was a pretty cool character. She like basically depicts teens, like female teens, like some teens that like just do whatever the hell they want. I thought the fact that her Instagram account being the key clue of finding out who the bad guy was, like the one who killed Nicole, was pretty cool. I thought it was a pretty cool thing that Rob Nelson was basically the murderer from an Instagram post, and of course a couple more things. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, another character I want to talk about is the guy who basically helped, or like the other guy who worked at the factory that Rob Nelson worked in. I thought he was a pretty useless character, but it kind of makes sense. He was just there for some reason. But overall, I thought the characters were pretty well balanced, well developed, stuff like that. Another thing I also want to talk about is, of course, you guys did Nicole Raven, because why not? I think I already mentioned her, but in case I didn't, Nicole Raven, I think she is just a okay character. Would I say she's up there with like some of the worst characters like to play mothers? I think so. I think she's basically just a knockoff version of Skylar White, if I'm saying it right. The wife of Walter White, Skylar White. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. But yeah, we're done with the characters. Let's move on to, I think, the last part I want to talk about of Mercy, that being. So let's just go ahead and give you guys my conclusion thoughts on Mercy. Would I recommend this movie to anybody? Absolutely. I think we should all have our own opinions on this movie. I know that Chris Pratt right now is in a lot of controversy because of like things that he's doing right now, but that does not matter. We should get politics aside of movies. Unless politics are important to the movie, like let's say for example Star Wars or like something else, blah 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 blah. You get it? Let's just get political stuff out of the movies if they're not connected to the story. But would I recommend this movie overall? Absolutely. I think Mercy is a movie that everybody should have their own opinions to. I feel like everybody should have a chance to get to see Mercy. I feel like this is a movie meant for like some people, I already recommended it to some of my friends. I think they're gonna have a blast with Mercy as much as I did. Um, so yeah, I would definitely recommend this to people like my friends or my family. But overall, yeah, I would recommend it 100%. But overall, what do I give Mercy? I am going to tell you right now that Mercy, starring Chris Pratt and Rebecca Ferguson, should be a movie you should 100% see in theaters. That's my honest opinions on it. I think overall you should see this movie in theaters. Like, without a doubt. I don't think you should be waiting to see it in digital. I think it's better overall to see it with people. Yes, there are actually people who are seeing this movie. I went to see it on like last week on Saturday. There was actually people there, which I'm honestly glad there was. Oh wait, no, I think 2 weeks ago. Yeah, 2 weeks ago if I'm not mistaken. I saw this 2 weeks ago with people in the theater alongside my parents. Yeah, definitely cool theater experience. You should definitely watch it in theaters without a doubt, because and to close off, I'm gonna give you guys my overall rating of the movie. I'm not sure if I said it already, but in case I did not, my overall rating for Mercy, starring Chris Pratt and Rebecca Ferguson, I am going to give this movie a solid 6 out of 10. I don't think it was movie of the year level good, but that's just my opinion. And yeah, that's Mercy. Thank you guys so much for watching my review on Mercy. I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.